Beyond the podcast of 1984. Beyond the podcast of 1984. Beyond the podcast of 1984.
Hey kids, it's another episode of Beyond the Podcast of 1984, and wow, I just recorded my second episode, and you know what? It didn't even come out, so I'm doing it again. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and concise. This sucks. I just played it back. Sounds like garbage. The first episode did come out. So today's episode, I was talking about slasher films. I wanted to start it out with that from Sunday night till yesterday, Wednesday afternoon, I watched the first 4 Sleepaway Camp films, which I absolutely love. Although I got to say the first one is the best. It's a classic, all-time classic, man, and it's very ahead of its time, I'd say, for, the uniqueness of the killer, played by Felissa Rose, who at the time was pretty young. If you haven't seen it, you might want to skip this. I don't know if you can forward through this for maybe like a minute. So I will count to 3, and then I will say what it is, because if you've never seen it, I mean, if you don't care, it doesn't really matter. But if you do, and you don't want to know the secret of the killer, why and all that stuff, then you might want to skip it. So 1, 2, 3. And everybody that's seen it knows that at the end it's revealed that she is in fact a he. If you want to say transgender, definitely I would say ahead of its time, because you didn't really have a lot of killers like that, at least in slasher horror films. I mean, you have Dress to Kill, like The Drag or whatever. But anyways, no, it's a great movie. The original Sleepaway Camp is a classic. I ended up watching the Blu-ray of the first one because I also have the Survival Kit, which came out years ago. 3 DVD set with 1, 2, and 3, and then it also has a bonus, The Survivor, and I haven't watched it, and apparently all it is, it's the production footage, and from what I understand, a lot of the movie is just flashbacks, and I was looking for the movie to buy it, and I found it, and it was like really expensive. I don't know, I guess it just hasn't got good distribution, or maybe because a lot of people just don't like it, I don't know. So I watched Part 1, and then Part 2 is Teenage Wasteland, and the third one is... Oh, no, I'm sorry. See, my brain is not working because I have to repeat myself here. Okay, Sleepaway Camp, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, and Return to Sleepaway Camp. They're all fun. But anyways, 1, 2, and 3 are in the set, and then it comes with that, 4th bonus disc and a little J card and stuff like that. First one I love. It's creepy. It's bleak. It's just kind of... It's not really like a super downbeat movie, but it's just, a lot of it has to do with bullying and stuff, which I notice is a theme. It seems like all of them, especially the 4th one. The second one was pretty good. A little more humor in it. And it's funny because Pamela Springsteen takes over the role, Bruce Springsteen's younger sister, and plays Angela, the killer. And, of course, we see her, we all know who she is, but there she is in the movie, so it's not spoiling anything. Then she comes back in the third one, wearing a wig. Looks really cute in that one, too. Third one is definitely a lot more goofy and kind of ridiculous, and it had a lot of homages to other slasher films, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. I liked it. Not as much as, like, when I saw it before. Watched it twice in the past. And then the fourth one was just, God, one of the most annoying characters ever, this bullied kid. He's like kind of this big guy. It's like, can't you just beat the crap out of the people making funny? But anyways, he's got emotional problems, and it wasn't bad. Really cute girls, and I had to laugh because it's like, how old are you supposed to be? There's like a lot of nudity, which surprised me, the fourth one. And like I said, I have not watched The Survivor. I might one of these days watch the production footage, but I mean, it's cool that they included it, but I don't know. If I do, I'll get back to y'all on it. But anyways, the whole theme of this episode is talking about the genre of like slasher films, which I'm a huge fan of. And I did ask myself a few days ago, why do I like this stuff? It's just people being stalked and killed, you know? And I was like, really thinking about it, not to put myself down or put down any other horror fans. I'm like, why do I enjoy it? And I think, well, because I like the thrills of it and they're fun, and I've liked slasher films since I was a kid, And it all started with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was 3 years old. And I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember, my mom, the guy I was named after, took us, and that's a long story. Anyways, I love the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's actually my favorite horror film of all time. I love the second one. It's definitely different, a lot more black humor and kind of wacky, but I love it. I love that movie. And the third one, Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another big favorite. First time I saw it, it's all right. I liked it. I really do like that movie. I need to get that one on Blu-ray. I do. I love it. And the fourth one, The New Generation, is pretty cheesy, pretty bad, but at the same time, it's entertaining, and I will say I think it's better than all the other Texas Chainsaw Massacres that came out. I mean, I own Chainsaw. What's it just called? Chainsaw. I don't even remember. See, I don't care. Call me shallow. The only reason I could sit through that snore fest was a hot girl that made the lead actress was hot. And I mean, Leatherface is kind of cool in it, but it's like, oh, he's been down in the basement for 40 years, down in a cellar, and he comes out. I'm like, what a dumb movie. I mean, I'm sure it's better than all the other ones that came out, which I have no interest in. They did that new one, about a year ago? And it's funny because it still hasn't come out on DVD or Blu-ray, and I really don't care. Just about everybody I talked to said it's a piece of crap. And then they did one right before that. Oh, how he becomes Leatherface. I'm like, Jesus. I don't mind the so-called remake, although I will be honest with you, the only reason I could sit through the first time I saw it is seeing Jessica Biel in a sleeveless, sweaty shirt. And I watched a lot of that movie on fast forward. But I ended up getting it later. And, I was like, that's all right. Just, to me, it reminds me more like Saw, though. So I'm like, yeah. I actually do like the prequel, though, the beginning. For some reason, I actually really enjoy that film because it's not some total remake. But I like that one. But anyways, why am I even mention that? Well, because the original is my favorite horror film. But that's a very special film, and I don't think you can really call it slasher. But anyways, so there's a lot of films in that genre that I love. Let's name a bunch. Friday the 13th. If I'm going to be really strict here, I'm going to say 1 through 4 are very beloved to me. Halloween 1 and 2. I love Stage Fright from Italy, a.k.a. Aquarius, a.k.a. Bloody Bird. Freaking love that movie so much. Been a huge fan of that for a long time. And what else? The original. And I get tired of saying the original, but a lot of these movies have gotten remakes, and, a lot of them I think stink. That's just my opinion. I'm like, blah. But, when I'm saying these movies, I'm talking about the original, so keep that in mind, all right? I'm not talking about the remakes. Might be a few here and there that I like, but barely. Anyways, like My Bloody Valentine, Prom Night. I'm trying to remember now. Intruder. That one I was obsessed with seeing for years. That's the one with the killer inside the grocery store. It was the last night, and they're going to be closing, so they're asking people to work overtime. And anyways, that's a great film. I've got an old weird gray market of it, which describes Bruce Campbell as being the lead character, which he's not. Which I thought was stupid. That's the only reason I kept the DVDs, because the cover's kind of dumb, and it's just, oh my God. Anyways, I end up getting I don't even have references here, but Scream Factory or whatever it was. But anyways, that Blu-ray DVD of Intruder, which way superior than that stupid gray market. Which it may not be a gray market, but I think it is. But anyways, if I had it, I could tell you what company put it out. I get the the newer one they put out years ago. And of course, The Burning. I love The Burning. Cropsy, just wow. That's like one of my all-time favorites. The Final Terror, that, I don't know, that's more like a survival horror film, but, it's kind of a sort of slasher. I'd throw it in there. I got it next to all my other films. But there's a lot of stuff, man, that I really frickin' love. I didn't take notes. Of course I didn't. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, for this show, I should take notes so I could be more coherent. There's a lot of films like that, and I just said Halloween 1 and 2, didn't I? I love the original Halloween 1 and 2. I actually like Rob Zombie's versions. I didn't at first. First time I saw Halloween, I was like, my brother was like, you gotta admit, that's a little better than the original. I was like, buddy, you're stepping on holy ground right there. But I do like it now. I mean, I watched it again years ago. In fact, around right before the actual Halloween, bought the steelbook of Halloween 1 and 2, Rob Zombie's version. I like those. I love Rob Zombie's films. I still need to watch The Monsters. Speaking of him, I've had it for months, and I keep forgetting I have it. I just need to find the right time on it. I'm not expecting the greatest about it, but whatever. I'm going to watch it. I mean, I'll watch anything that Rob Zombie does. I'm a fan. I love early White Zombie, too. I'm a big fan of that band. I like all their stuff, but mainly their, the earlier stuff like Soul Crusher. But anyways, that's all for another time. Man, oh man. Okay, so other films like, I love The Mutilator. I watched that on YouTube years ago. I ended up buying Arrow Films has really helped me. I'm not under mailing list. I don't mean like help, like, oh, they're sending me movies. I wish they did to be awesome. So I blown a lot of money buying their films. But anyways, they put out The Mutilator. I got that. Really like that one. It's kind of cracks me up. It's just like kind of very simple, going after, his son and all his friends, and they're like in a secluded beachfront property area, and he's killing them with different types of implements. It's a classic, and it's not spoiling either. That's what the film's about. It even says it on the back of the description of the film. But there's a Mutilator. The other one, I don't know if you really want to call it a slasher, kind of maybe. One I didn't care for the first time I saw it. I'd heard about it for years. I ended up buying it. I took a chance. I bought it, the Blu-ray special edition of Slayer. And you know what? That was really cool. I actually really liked it. I was like, wow, this is way different what I remember, but it was entertaining and really creepy. And I'd love to throw Deep Red in there. I know it's a giallo, but it's kind of got slasher elements, It's like Stage Fright. That's got kind of a giallo feel to it, but that's definitely way, way slasher. The killer in the oversized owl mask. I love that freaking movie. And the ending is just like, what the heck? And that ending is just crazy, man. Every time I watch it, I rewind it. I'm like, what? It's like, is that real? Or is that supposed to be a nightmare? But anyways, I had to explain to my brother one time. I actually gave him my DVD because I wanted to turn him on to that. I ended up buying the Blu-ray, but I love that freaking movie. Oh, God. Okay, you want to get into like the weird kind of slasher stuff. It's one of the greatest films of all time to me. And I praised Grindhouse Releasing for putting out I have it's like a 2 Blu-ray, 1 CD soundtrack set, but Pieces. If you've never seen Pieces, you don't know what you're in for. That movie is just so awesome and ridiculous, and it's like, what the hell? And it was really cool finally seeing it. When I get the Blu-ray, I watched it. I was able to finally see it. I watched it in Spanish. And it's funny, too, because it's supposed to take place in Massachusetts, and it was like shot in, I think it was shot in Spain, I believe. And even at the beginning of it, there's a phone ringing, and I was laughing on this phone. It's like dial a phone that didn't even exist. It's like supposed to be like World War II or something. I was laughing. It's just a really odd movie, and I freaking love it. It's just, I've been a fan of that since like 87 or so. But it's like, you don't need to be in Texas to have a chainsaw massacre. It's freaking hilarious. Pieces is just, it's a great movie. It's exactly what you think it is. It's awesome. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you gotta see it. It's crazy. But Pieces is great. Another really oddball one that is way at the top of my list, top of my just favorites is Don't Go in the Woods. That one is just freaking hilarious. I make jokes sometimes, say, hey, that's my dad. Killer's got this big old beard. And this is a crazy looking guy. And I wish they could do the sequel, but I don't know. The director seems like a really old guy now. And he's a true gentleman and a really fun, cool guy. I watch interviews with him. And this is a great movie. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's got just, the dialogue's terrible. The way it's shot, there's like a scene the characters are talking, you can't even see them. It's almost like they took a cue from like some 70s martial arts films. You're like, hey, you get a pipe, Boston. Let's see you'll try it. And you don't even see them on the camera, and all of a sudden the camera zooms in, and there they are, pulls back, and there they are, like, it's like pretty bad. But anyways, it's a great movie. It's got a terrible theme song. It's really fun. And I have actually had fantasies of like saying, man, try to get hold of the guy. Can I make the sequel, man? It's like, this makes something. I think it'd be great to see a sequel to that because it's a classic. But it's like if they did it, it'd have to be, just crazy because the original, it's great, man. It's awesome. But no, I like all kinds of stuff in a slasher genre. I mean, there's not all the same. And then you got Black Christmas, the original. I'm not even gonna say anything. I had kind of not really a rant about the other two, but I don't give a crap. I have nothing right now. I may talk about it some other time. Maybe I'll do an episode of Rantathons or something. Anyways, the original Black Christmas is an all-time classic. And if you're a fan of Halloween and you haven't seen Black Christmas, well, you should do some homework and go watch it. I believe it was 1974, and it's a creepy freaking movie. I love Black Christmas. It's like, I love it. I ended up getting, I think it was my birthday. No, it was I don't remember. No, it wasn't my birthday. It might have been last Christmas. I ended up getting some money, and I asked my stepmom, hey, can we stop off at Best Buy? And I ended up buying like Return of the Living Dead. It was like the 4K / Blu-ray, and then I got Black Christmas and a few other movies. But anyways, it was a joy watching that again. Really nice release of that classic masterpiece. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. It's great. And Margot Kidder is absolutely beautiful, and I was like, oh my God, just woo, beautiful. That husky voice of her. She plays a drunk in it. She's just Olivia Hussey is lovely. It's just a great, It's definitely, to me, it's one of the blueprints. The one I cannot believe that I didn't mention. So my brain is a little more clear now. Blood and Black Lace by the legendary Mario Bava is probably one of the very first. I just said Black Christmas, a blueprint. Well, it's kind of a blueprint for that particular type of horror, the creepy killer breathing heavily and sneaking around and killing people. But Blood and Black Lace is just, it's a classic. That's definitely one of the greatest. I'd wanted it for years, and I got it once again. I ended up buying the Blu-ray of it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, really cool. It's got it's kind of like the forerunner to a lot of like early, I would say like Giallo. You watch that, and then you can kind of see a little bit of like Deep Red, or I don't really want to say Suspiria, but definitely Deep Red, which is another one that's definitely Giallo, but it's got the elements, sneaky killer. Did I already mention The Final Terror? See, my brain is not working right, but anyways, The Final Terror, it's more of a survival horror film, but it's got the elements. It's got some really crazy, like a weird-ass killer, and it's just the ending is, like, nuts. It's really great, and it's definitely different, and then not to spoil it, but what happens when you get, you see your people you work with, they're like these forest rangers, and they actually kill. What surprised me is main characters that I figure would be in the whole movie get killed early on. It's not a super gore fest. It doesn't really have a giant body count, but it's really good. The killer is really weird, and it just takes place in the deep woods, and I freaking love it. I love The Final Terror. It's just awesome. For other horror films like that, I don't know, it's like, that Blood Lake. Well, yeah, that's kind of going into the genre of shot on video, which I'm going to talk about sometime. I've got ideas. I'm going to be taking notes right now and stuff, so I can be a little more coherent. This is definitely a lot more coherent than my last episode. Yeah, it's just it's a genre that I really enjoy. I've liked since I was a kid, and among some of my favorite types of films, and of course, the other ones I've mentioned, like, sci-fi, horror sci-fi. I like all the different genres of horror films. Gory, splatter, just a bunch of stuff, And of course, last 3 years or so, and I guess I'm kind of changing gears here in my subject matter, but it's still with movies, but as I've definitely broadened my horizons, I haven't done it on purpose. I think it's because a couple of years ago, Walmart they had it for years. They had a $5 Blu-ray bin, so I started just like, hey, if this looks interesting, it's only $5, I'm going to get it. So I started checking out a bunch of other stuff, and then, you got money in your pocket, and you're like, I got to buy something. Been like that in the past, not as much now, but movies like The Green Book, Inherent Vice, all these movies I kind of took a chance on, and they're really good. A lot of them are more like kind of like crime/thrillers, and then you got action films. I found that I like a whole lot of different stuff. Big fan of definitely become a really big fan the last few years of like Denzel Washington. I love Training Day. I thought Safe House was pretty cool. Malcolm X, really good. I saw that years ago. I ended up buying the Blu-ray of that, but there's a whole lot of good stuff. I like the Equalizer movies with him. Some drama stuff, like I mentioned, The Green Book. That was a really touching film with Viggo Mortensen, and I wish I could remember the actor, the guy that's driving around in the Deep South. But that was a really good movie. Of course, I just mentioned Inherent Vice. Excellent. Joaquin Phoenix, really fun. Just made me laugh. Got some hilarious scenes in it. You get all the controversy. I actually like a bunch of the Marvel movies. I like the DC movies. I don't care. I like what I like. And I think it's just funny that these people get all mad. Personally, I think it's jealousy. But I think those movies they're fun. Are they all great? No. I don't think all of them are great. I don't rush out to buy them. I like the Avengers movies. I thought the Captain Marvel movie was kind of fun. I like the Henry Cavill Superman films. I love the Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movies. Those are all fun. Black Widow was pretty decent. Black Panther was okay. I like the Doctor Strange movie, but I just like a lot of different stuff, man. I like everything from like really low budget shot on video things from my bottom of the barrel, which is not meant to be an insult, but like movies like Fuck the Devil 1 and 2, which were like beyond almost no budget. German shot on video, which I'm happy that it came out. Thank you, Bleeding Skull, and was it AGFTA? I hope I'm saying that right, because I don't have the reference on me right now, but everything from that up to like multi-million-dollar budget films. To me, there's great stuff. I love all the Star Wars movies. You can argue all you want. They suck. Whatever. It's an opinion. Of course, the Holy Trilogy is the best, But anyways, I love Star Trek films. I'm talking, going back to the original crew, to the next generation crew, to, the ones that's supposed to be an alternate reality. I think those are great, and I hope there's been rumors that they're doing a new one. I hope they do. But when I was a kid, of course, the first thing that really shaped what I am, how I am, and all the things I'm into was Star Wars, man. Back in 1977, my mom took me. It blew my mind, and that was the first thing that really opened me up to realize what I really like. And I was obsessed with Star Wars. I used to call myself Han Solo. I even had the blaster. Had a kid come up to me on a bus a long time ago. It was like 80, 81. What's your name? I go, Han Solo. Still like to say that. But, I'd go home because my mom, she had a job. But it was just my mom and my little brother and sister. I should say little sister, little tiny brother, because he was a really little tiny guy. I'd come home and I'd watch Star Trek every day. And I was into Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica. Of course, I saw Flash Gordon with my best friend at the time. I've had a few different best friends in my life. His name was William Jones. He was a good kid. We used to play Star Wars all the time, every single day, man. I hope he's doing good wherever he is. I was obsessed with Star Wars, and his uncle invited us over one day, and we ended up watching the Flash Gordon movie that came out in 80, and I love that movie. I actually got it on DVD and Blu-ray. Part of the reason why I haven't gotten rid of the DVD is because it has a cool J-card art in it of Ming the Merciless. I'm like, I'm not getting rid of that. I don't care. There's like a new one that Arrow put it out a while ago, and I keep mentioning Arrow, but I have a lot of their stuff. I've been building up this big-ass Arrow films collection. Kind of expensive, but great stuff. Hopefully they'll have another big sale on, because there's a spaghetti western collection I want to get really bad that came out a while back, but it seems like it hasn't been on sale. So I'm waiting on that because I'm a huge fan of spaghetti westerns, and I will probably do an episode about those one of these days. So yeah, all that stuff, and I got into drawing, and when I was a kid, I didn't start out with superhero stuff. I started out with my uncle would let me look at his Creepy, Eerie, Vampirella, The Rook, that kind of stuff. The old Warren publication stuff, which I'd love to win the lottery, just buy all of it. I love that stuff. But then he got me into, Heavy Metal Magazine, the art of Chris Foss. I used to have a Chris Foss, a little softbound book, and I lost it. But anyways, now my sister and Kenny, rest in peace, her dear partner in life, is a great guy. I miss him a lot, man. But one year for Christmas, they got me a Chris Foss, huge Chris Foss book, and I was really touched. That was like the same night I got like a Batman 66 to 68 TV series. Because I had it. One of the discs was screwed up, and I sold it to a friend of mine, and he said it worked. But anyways, I love Chris Foss's art. Huge fan. I love Giger, my favorite artist. I love Brahm. I admit I'm not a giant fan of Boris Vadagerano. He pronounces it. No, he's a great artist. Don't get me wrong. But did Julie Bell. There's a lot of artists out there. Of course, H.P. Lovecraft. I was reading a lot of his stuff in high school, which, oh my God, I could tell you a whole story about that. High school bullying and all that garbage. But anyways, a lot of reading. Stephen King, Clive Barker, early Clive Barker. Random stuff. James Herbert, those rat books that he wrote. Man, those are great. A whole lot of different stuff, Of course, Mad Max 2, and, I mentioned that in the last episode, post-apocalypse stuff is a big influence on me. Sci-fi, horror sci-fi. Straightforward science fiction. I like hard science fiction stuff. Like, The Martian, Ad Astra. Well, that one's a little bit far-fetched. But anyways, Gravity. I think all those movies are great. I could watch that. I could watch stuff with monsters and aliens in it. I'm just really tired right now. I thank you again, Tim. And I'm definitely going to be doing more episodes. Yeah, I haven't been very funny, I guess. But, that could prove wrong in another episode. We'll see. You never know what the next episode is going to be. It's not just going to be me and blah, 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 blah. So, hey, if you're still there, thank you for listening. I'll talk more about slasher films, horror film, whatever that whole genre. Probably another episode because I'm sure I forgot a lot of films. There's a lot more, but I don't have the references right now because I'm downstairs in my kitchen. I got the heater on. I got the stove on. So thermostat's not working. But comedy is a really big thing in my life, too, before I end up going. I just want to mention I love comedy. I'm a huge fan of a lot of comedians. I love Dolomite. Yeah, Rudy Ray Moore, stories about that guy. I love that guy. Love the movies, love his comedy. George Carlin, Bill Hicks, Andy Kaufman is definitely one of my Jedi Masters. I love Andy Kaufman. Mitch Hedberg, Richard Pryor. There's a whole bunch. I gotta apologize to the ladies. I know there's some great lady female comedians out there. And before I go on the subject of female comedians, I think it's funny that apparently there are many men out there that are intimidated by funny women. I am not. I always hope that if I ever, which will probably never happen, but you never know. I mean, crazy things have happened, miracles have happened. But I always hope if I ever meet my dream lady that she's funny, because I think it's sexy. What is wrong with a funny lady, man? You don't want some grumpy, snobby, no sense of humor, can't laugh about anything, mopey bullshit. That's not what I'm into. I would like happy. I'm a huge fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus. I love those guys so much. I love Fawlty Towers. I hate to sound like a poser and admit that I've not seen enough Benny Hill, but the little bit I've seen, I love. I love the Comic Strip Presents. Those guys are geniuses. The ones that did Bad News, the parody heavy metal band. They also ended up, some of those guys went on to do The Young Ones, which another kick-ass great. But there's freaking tons of great, especially British comedy. I love that stuff so much. Big influence on my life. There's just so much great, fun stuff out there, and that is the basis of my show. Is I want to talk about crazy, fun, cool, wild stuff that makes me happy, that keeps me going, I'll probably do a whole episode dedicated to cats, because I love cats. I like all animals, but especially love cats. I got my kitties here. I love them. Got my friend Aurelia's kitty here that my buddy Jared and I are taking care of. She's a cute little brat. We got Taz and Walker here. So thanks for listening to this. I'm sure we'll get it set up that you can send me comments or whatever. That'd be really cool. I'd appreciate it. Any feedback. I'm very thankful to my buddy Tim for the opportunity to do this, because I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and I'm just really happy that now I got the opportunity, and I'm going to be doing many more episodes. So yeah, until next time, stay thick, take care. Don't forget to change your underwear. And as always, as I've been saying for a very long time, keep the filth. And we'll see you, we'll pretend like we can see you, next time on Beyond the Podcast of 1984. Bye-bye.
Beyond the Podcast of 1984. Beyond the Podcast of 1984. Beyond the Podcast of 1984. Beyond the Podcast of 1984.